Calgary East.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have stood in opposition to new pipelines in the past. Maybe you've seen the picture. It's not a great one. I'm wearing a hat, and while I enjoy a good hat from time to time, I'm not really a hat person. It was in downtown in 2011. I stood in front of the Harry Hayes building in downtown Calgary to protest the expansion of Keystone XL. I was there for several reasons that a picture does not adequately explain. I felt that the government at the time was not doing enough to diversify the economy, and they were relying too heavily on the oil and gas industry, and that this was doing irreparable damage to our economy long term. At the time, the government in 2011 was also not actively endeavouring to reduce Alberta's carbon emissions. They were not adequately protecting Alberta's greatest resources, our land, our water, and our air. I felt that shipping more raw bitumen to the United States so that it could be refined there and sold back to us was not in the best interest of Albertans. I wasn't confident that the government at the time was spending the money from our oil boom wisely. How could we have such a successful, profitable oil and gas industry, but still have such a fragile economy susceptible to booms and busts that saw and still see Albertans from all over the province hurting? With oil above $100 a barrel and talk of expanding pipelines, why were teachers being told they might not have jobs next year? Why were we not building schools? Why were we not contributing to our Heritage Savings Fund? Other jurisdictions have been famously documented as navigating these same waters with much greater success. When Alberta was booming, why weren't profits being directed towards innovation and diversification across multiple industries? I do not regret protesting a pipeline expansion in 2011. A pipeline in 2011 would not have created the jobs and the path that we need now. A pipeline in 2011 would have contributed more to the past government's inability to harness the power and economic force that a pipeline has the potential to be. A pipeline in 2011 would only have amplified the past government's propensity to spend money by providing tax cuts to their friends so that the rich could get richer. So I do not regret my actions in 2011. I stand by my actions at that time and in those circumstances. But circumstances have changed. It's not 2011 anymore. Alberta voted to get rid of that government, and I can tell you that this government will utilize this pipeline to benefit all Albertans, not just those at the top. That this government will work towards a more creative, innovative, and diversified economy. That this government has a climate leadership plan that addresses carbon emissions and air pollution. The opposition quickly points fingers and blames our government for the recession we've just been through, but our government has had to face down the economic reality of what former governments left us and create a plan that ensures that Alberta does become a leader in innovation, diversification, and that we do it with creativity and Alberta grit. There are people who ask me, why more oil? Why are you pushing this pipeline so hard? This isn't what I was expecting from an NDP government. They say, haven't you protested pipelines? They say I've flip-flopped, that I'm being political. But I'm a science teacher, and I've always prided myself on basing my decisions on the best facts that I have before me. And I'm here today that I can tell you I've toured refineries, in situ sites, and university labs. I've read countless studies and heard economic reports. And I can tell you that without reservation that the Alberta oil industry is working continuously to take carbon out of the barrel. I also know that the oil industry has been integral to the foundation of Alberta, and denying this would be ill-informed and unenlightened. Here, today, in 2018, we are in a position to work with the oil and gas industry, with universities, and with entrepreneurs to bring about the changes that we all seek, to create an economy that will provide the future that we want. I know now that protesting pipelines is not an effective way to reduce carbon emissions. Less gas-powered cars would reduce emissions. Better technology reduces emissions. More public transit, more green energy, solar, wind, wave, thermal. More energy-efficient homes, offices, and businesses. More local food production. More local production of goods, period. Less deforestation. These are things that will lead to a lower carbon economy. In 2018, I stand, having educated myself, and I know that pipelines are not the enemy. In Alberta, this pipeline is needed so that we can continue building the diverse, innovative, multifaceted economy that we require for the prosperity of future generations. If anything can be seen as an enemy, it has been past governments' inability to adjust to new challenges, challenges that we can face and overcome together. We can't remain fixed. We can't have one path. We have to be flexible and we have to develop. I'm not fixed. Every day I challenge myself to learn more, to be more open, to try to more fully understand our difficulties. I am proud that our NDP government has not remained fixed in our strategies, that we strive to improve and rise up to meet the challenges Alberta faces. I got involved in politics because I wanted a government that based its decisions on facts and the situation currently in front of them, one that took all factors into consideration, and I am confident that this NDP government is doing exactly that. As a legislator, I often ask myself if the policies that I am voting on will hold up for my children. We cannot deny that Alberta needs to diversify, to innovate. The energy industry is the backbone of our economy, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be making every effort to expand and lift Alberta into a future of all possibilities. A future with better public transit, more renewable energy, and more energy products being made in Alberta. To do this, we need the ability to sell our oil now. We need to be able to sell it without a steep discount and to support our industry in its ongoing quest to lower emissions. And there's no question that this pipeline will help us get there. So for me, this issue boils down to 3 questions. First, will this pipeline mean that we, as Albertans and as Canadians, are better off in 20 years? Second, do the benefits outweigh the risks? And the most important, is it what the majority of my constituents want? The answer to all 3 of these questions is a resounding yes, and so I am happy to support this motion. Thank you very much.